So I'm going to do some measurements. On the power supply display, it says 50.03 volts. It says 1.45 amps, and on the handheld clamp, this will be the input. Handheld clamp 1. It fluctuates between 1.4 and 1.5. I'll put 1.5 amps. The oscilloscope clamp on the VR, which is the RMS, it says 2 amps. I'm going to double check so that it was zeroed before I started. It can be a bit difficult to have it zeroed down. Yeah, sometimes it's almost okay, it's pretty zeroed. So I'll put this here. And we have an RMS value of 1.9 amps. Oscilloscope clamp 1.9 amps RMS. And I will show this, save this as an image. And this will be image number 1. And number 2 will be the AC volts to the coil. Alright, AC volts to the coil. And I'll put that here. And we have the blue line shows AC volts, and the volts peak to peak. This is also kind of strange. The peak to peak is 91 volts, and the RMS is 40. So the RMS volts is 40.8. Volts 40.8, and the current is RMS is 534 milliamps. On the oscilloscope clamp, and on the handheld clamp we have AC. It 0.4 amps, 0.3. It's still at 530 milliamps RMS on the oscilloscope, and here it stops at 0.3. So that would be 0.3 amps handheld. And I'm saving this picture as picture number 2. And if I were to include the wire to the load, it would look like with 2 wires. And it's still all DC coupled. 2 wires, it shows an RMS value of 1.7 amps. And the handheld clamp shows, let's see, and this is, let's check AC, and it's these 2. No, it's not those 2 at all. It's these 2, that one, and that one. So the AC, it's the same cables going through. It's a mess here. Those are the 2 going through that one, and this shows 0.4 OSC clamp and 0.4 amps with a handheld clamp. And I will save this as picture number 3. All right. And we are going for the DC volts after the rectifier. DC volts after the rectifier. I'll put that one here, that one there. This will be number 4. Volts. I can also check the amps after the rectifier. After rectifier. And the RMS volts are about 40 volts, and we have the RMS amperage current, and it says 1.2 amps on the oscilloscope clamp, and DC. This one says the same, 1.2 amps, 1.2 amps handheld. And perhaps just for the fun of it, I will also check the voltage with another multimeter. And it says 37.8, and here it's 39 or 40, so 37.8. Oscilloscope, 37.8 volts handheld. All right, and I will save this as picture number 4, like that. And if I put this in AC coupling, let's wait for that. DC coupling, it says 1.2. AC coupling, it says 300 milliamps. I will save that. AC coupling, and we have 360 milliamps. And if I put this in AC, that's for the oscilloscope clamp, 0.2 handheld clamp. I would save this as picture number 5 to make them a little bit bigger. Save. So the question is, are we supposed to measure it in AC coupled or DC coupled? because I'm convinced they show much the same thing. And it doesn't really, I mean, on the DC coupled, it doesn't really show that there are any negative current going through. But this is, oh, that was for the load. Yeah. I'm not sure if all this makes sense. Let's check for the coil again. The coil, and I'll use only one. And this one goes back and forth. What if I do DC with this one? And no, it shows nothing. That's good. And if I now choose AC coupling or DC, it doesn't really do any difference. If it's DC coupled, okay, let's do number 6, and it is now DC coupled. DC coupled to from coil. And I'll put this one, 0 it. DC coupled, it says like 520 milliamps. Oscilloscope probe, it says 39, 40 volts on the oscilloscope. We have 0.3 amps AC on the handheld scope. And I will save this as number 6. And let's do number 7, AC coupled. AC coupled. And we have RMS, that's the VR, it's like 490 milliamps. Oscilloscope clamp. Yes. The other is of course the same, and I'll save this as picture number 7. What else to try? I can try if I take both of those again. Take this away just for a moment. And I'll take the wire to the coil plus 1 wire for the load, and I will put it in first DC. It shows 1.3 amps in DC, and it shows still going down. 0.5, yes, 0.5, 0.6. Both wires 0.4, okay. AC 0.4 amps. And if I turn it to DC, we have 1.3 amps. And if I do this with the other clamp, it seems to be, well, at 0. We have both wires. These are from the handheld clamp. Here we have RMS 500, that's 600 milliamps. DC coupled. Oh, AC coupled. Okay, it's already at AC coupled. And if I change that to DC coupled, it gives me 1.6 amps. These are from the oscilloscope. So let's save the AC coupled once more as number 8, and the DC coupled as number 9. So this is the, let's change to AC coupling, and I'll save this. Can take away that one, don't need it at the moment. So this is AC coupling, save, there you go, and we change to DC coupling, put it up a bit, That's number 9. All right. I will compose an email for you